They got him. Case closed. Zachary Greenberg is the man who punched that conservative dude in the face in Berkeley. And this, I'll tell you what blew my mind. They're charging him with a felony. That I couldn't believe. That's serious. Apparently, it's assault with a deadly weapon other than a gun or something like that. We'll read it. But this is the guy right here, and there was a lot of outrage because for about a week now, you have this video of this guy punching some dude square in the face, a sucker punch. Dude was looking down, just beating on him. And where were the police and where was the media outrage? A lot of conservatives brought up, Justice Smollett comes out and claims he gets attacked with no footage, no evidence, and everyone loses their minds. Granted, he is a celebrity. When this happens and you actually have a video of a kid getting punched in the face, where's the media coverage? They don't care. Now, I think it's fair to point Justice Smollett is a celebrity and TMZ helps fan those flames, but there is something to be said for this kind of violence happening all the time. There's another story. I don't have it pulled up. Apparently, that 81-year-old, the MAGA head who got attacked in Jersey, they arrested the dude who attacked him too. So I have to wonder at a certain point, can the media compile all of these and say, we have a serious fucking problem with people beating on random people, right? The media wants to go all crazy about these rare instances. You have Justice Smollett, presumably a hoax. You have that Coast Guard, right? If you're not familiar, there's a Coast Guard who was found with a bunch of weapons and hit list. That's terrifying. I'm glad that law enforcement stopped him before he did anything, for sure. But it's when you only hear about one thing in the media and you see this with your own eyes all the time, okay? I did a video where I had like 3 instances of people in Trump hats getting attacked. 3. But as I stated, one of the challenges for these stories is that getting punched in the face, these things happen all the time. So the media doesn't care and they're not celebrities. But let's read. California law enforcement officials arrested 28-year-old Zachary Greenberg on a felony warrant Friday afternoon for allegedly, allegedly assaulting a conservative activist. We've all seen the video. He clocks the dude square in the mouth. Now, if you're going to criticize CNN for saying allegedly, okay, and then you're doing the same thing over at Daily Wire. Come on now. Do we really have to say allegedly? I'm gonna say this. I don't have a legal team like they probably do, so perhaps that is what you're supposed to say. I'll say this. He allegedly punched a conservative activist in the face that we saw on video where he sucker punched him and pounded on him several times on video. Allegedly. I guess you have to say allegedly because the assumption is we don't know if that's actually Zachary Greenberg or if Zachary, maybe they arrested the wrong guy. I guess that's why you have to say it, but still it's rather silly. But that's probably the important point. When you could say definitively someone physically assaulted a conservative, but to directly accuse Zachary, I don't know if that guy's actually Zachary, which is a good point. They say it was a Turning Point, a conservative activist with Turning Point USA on the University of California, Berkeley's campus last month. I'm not sure he was actually with them. I think he was helping them, but wasn't directly affiliated. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm wrong. Greenberg was identified as one of the 2 men who confronted a conservative activist who had set up a table in Sproul Plaza, CBS San Francisco reports. Hayden Williams, a volunteer with conservative group Talking Point USA, was displaying signs that read, "Hate crime hoaxes hurt real victims." They do. A reference to the Jussie Smollett case. And another saying, "This is MAGA country." It's a meme now. It is. So we have a statement from Berkeley. I'm not going to read this because I actually have the statement pulled up. And, that's the old one, actually. Oh, really? All right, we'll read this one. Actually, no, I'll pull up this full one because I want to see. Okay. No, never mind. That's just campus reform saying, they got him. Today, an Alameda County Superior Court judge issued a warrant for the arrest of the suspect in the matter involving a February 19th assault on Sproul Plaza. Zachary Greenberg was arrested by the University of California Police Department on the warrant and was booked into jail at 1 p.m. UCPD will formally present the case to the Alameda County District Attorney's Office for consideration of filing of criminal charges once the matter is presented and reviewed by the District Attorney's Office. Additional information will be made available regarding a charging decision. Now, how they got this guy. They were really lucky because apparently this guy has been on TV before and someone recognized him, got in contact with the producers, and were able to identify him as none other than PC Principal. I'm just kidding. But if you're not familiar, PC Principal is, that's really great, isn't it? PC Principal is the character from South Park, who's the new principal of the school in South Park, who is politically correct principal. and he looks like this all the time. And this is the meme, apparently, because this guy attacked a conservative, so they're drawing the conclusion. I'm just kidding. I don't know how they actually found him. Let's read on, but hopefully that brightened your day just a little bit. Greenberg was reportedly arrested in Berkeley on suspicion of assault with a deadly weapon other than a firearm, with force likely to produce great bodily injury. He is being held at Glen Dyer Jail in Oakland on $30,000 bond, with his arraignment set for Monday. God damn. He's going to spend the weekend in jail. He's presumably is going to need 10%, $3,000 if he wants to get out. Seems like he's not going to be able to. Now, I'm not an expert, like martial artist or anything like that. I do know people who have dealt with cases like this, and so I can only speculate. I'm sure there are many of you who are listening who know way better than I do, but they say on suspicion of assault with a deadly weapon other than a firearm, with force likely to produce great bodily injury. In the video, the guy just punches him. But I think the reason they're charging in this way is because the punch to the face that hard and the way he did it could kill. Like you could kill somebody with that. So I'll tell you a quick story something happened when I was real young. It was a business that my mom had been associated with. There was a party and two guys got into an argument. And I think it was something kind of dumb. Like, so one guy punches the other guy. The guy who gets punched falls down, hits his head, dies. There you go. That's murder, right? Did he want to murder him? No, he just wanted to hurt him, right? But when you look at things like this, that punch to the face, what if dude fell down, hit his head on the table? What if he hit his head on the ground? The intent was to seriously hurt him. So this is probably why I'm assuming he's getting a felony charge. Fox News noted that a series of delays and cryptic messages from authorities drew outrage from Charlie Kirk, the founder and executive director of Turning Point USA. This is really surprising, Kirk told Fox News a week after the incident. From what I understand, there's been no arrest. I don't understand why there's no public arrest file on this guy. If he had been wearing a Make America Great Again hat and had punched a liberal in the face, there'd be nationwide outrage and a manhunt to find him. The whole thing is crazy. And I'm going to agree with Charlie Kirk on this one. I think Charlie, I don't say this to be disrespectful, but I find a lot of his tweets, they do really well. He's a prominent guy, but they feel a little derivative, right? And maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe it's like he's taking these stories and condensing them and then putting them out there to a bigger audience, and that's fine. But in my opinion, it seems like he's not particularly active in, like, I don't know how to describe it. It seems like he's one step behind everybody when these stories break. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying, like, everyone goes crazy and then Charlie Kirk comes out. And for me, it's kind of like, yeah, okay, I get it. Again, that's just something I'm pointing out. But that's whatever. I digress. I find it. I agree, and I have to wonder: is this? Okay, let me try and start over with this one. There's a lot of times where there's nuance in these situations. It's entirely possible that police were investigating this and were trying to keep it on the DL because they didn't want to spook anybody, and they had to dig up some sources, try and find out who this guy was. I think the main problem, as I pointed out earlier, is not with the police. They've arrested this guy. He's got a felony charge. The problem is the media. I think it's plain as day, and you should all be able to recognize it by now, that it's activists who are working in these digital sites, mostly based in New York City. Do you think a left-wing activist is going to write about the man who was sucker punched? No, why would they? He's a Trump supporter. He's a conservative. They're not going to give you any airtime. You crazy? Kirk went on. This is astonishing. What extra work needs to be done here, Kirk said in a separate Fox News report. The assault was clearly captured on video. If the attacker was wearing a MAGA hat, this case would be wrapped up by now. Daily press conferences would be occurring and arrests would have already happened. I disagree with that simply because the Jussie Smollett case took like a month, I think it was, before we actually knew what was going on. Now, it was a few weeks that they started, trickling out information. And when it was great journalists, local journalists who did a really good job reporting this. So look, I think what we can see here is there's a really big difference between local and national media, because they've actually, for the Daily Wire, they've pulled up CBS San Francisco, she called it a sucker punch too. See, and so they actually have a photo of. Let me see if I can open this. So they actually have a photo of the guy, looks like him. You can see a photo of even the punch. So it's like there's not an allegation, man. Like this dude actually punched this dude. Local reporting tends to do a good job. Okay. Okay, we get it. Your autoplay videos are annoying. Local news nails it. National news doesn't. Now, the Daily Wire is a national digital outlet. They cover big stories nationally, and it's a conservative angle. But you look at these big outlets like Vox, Vice, BuzzFeed. these well-funded digital outlets that have viral content, they won't talk about this, and there's nothing you can do. So you know what? They go on. They get statements from like Donald Trump Jr. and stuff, but I want to point out one more really important thing. That what we're seeing with the split of media from social media to digital media, it's really, really terrifying. It's really bad, in my opinion. You know, I'm not going to blame conservatives for making outlets dedicated to, you know, covering stories that are being underreported. I will absolutely throw shade at these, like, you know, Vox, Verge, BuzzFeed, Vice, etc., because they're supposed to just be general news, but they're not. They're leftist. So it's like, okay, if you're going to claim to just be a news source, then don't be biased, right? The problem is, with social media bannings of conservatives, and yes, anti-war left gets banned too, but not nearly as often, and the mainstream left is typically getting away scot-free, we are separating people. And people who are separated look, this story, we all know it. We all saw this, right? We recognize that face. We're like, man, I saw that video. You know this. You will tell your friends and your family, and they will say, yup. But what do you think's going to happen if you go to someone in the resistance and say, did you hear about Zachary Greenberg? They say, who? The guy who punched a conservative. The what? You're talking about Jesse Smollett? And you're going to be like, no. And I'm pretty sure, I think it was Jack Dorsey on the Sam Harris podcast. He said, left-wing journalists only follow each other. Conservative journalists follow everyone, or something to that effect. And so the bubble is dangerous. But what can you do, right? You just got to hope that some people wake up to the fact they're being fed complete and utter horse shit, and they've got to get their news from different sources. But I'll leave it there. Stick around. I'll have another video coming up at 1 p.m., and I will see you then.